Let's start with our first story. And the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitawo, has produced documents detailing how the John Mahama and Jerry Rawlings administrations secretly signed military cooperation pact or agreement granting unrestricted access to Ghanaian military facilities to the United States of America Armed Forces. This is coming on the back of latest controversy on government decision to approve the new bilateral military agreement, which includes tax exemptions. Dominic Nitawo has been addressing a press conference in Accra where he produced two separate documents that he says lay the foundation for this particular agreement that the MPP government has signed.
The new agreement, which is an enhanced defense agreement, is premised on two legs. One is the 1998 agreement, and two, which is a note verbal, and two, the 2015 agreement that Ghana signed to by our then Foreign Minister, Hannah Tepe. And let me read. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana presents its compliment to the Embassy of the United States of America and has the honor to refer to the Embassy's Note 121 dated 24th November 1997, which reads as follows. The Embassy of the United States of America presents its compliment to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana and has the honor to refer to the recent discussion between the representatives of the two governments regarding issues related to U.S. military personnel and civilian employees of the U.S. Department of Defense who may temporarily be present in Ghana in connection with the African Crisis Response Initiative and other activities as may have be agreed upon by our two governments. As a result of these discussions, the Embassy has the pleasure to propose that such personnel be accorded the equivalent to that accorded the administrative and technical staff of the United States Embassy under the Vienna Convention and Diplomatic Relations of 18 April 1961. Immunity. And that they may enter and exit Ghana with United States identification and with collective movement of individuals or travel orders. 1998. So, immunity, tax clearance, death, entry with ID card, all has already been given in an agreement that was signed in 1998 by the government of the Republic of Ghana, called Status of Force Agreement. So the new agreement that we are looking at, there is nothing new in that new agreement. All the Americans have done is to copy what we already have signed to and are dealing with it.
And as you're well aware, the agreement, among others, will permit the United States military to use Ghana as a base for deploying forces. But Mr. Nitawo dismissed media reports suggesting a U.S. military base will be established in Ghana as part of the new compact.
You know, don't let us look at peacetime. God forbid if there's a wartime, for example, and the U.S. decides that, or there's a disaster in Ghana like Haiti, and the U.S. decide that they want to come and stage forces and deploy, and they don't have this agreement, how are they going to stage the forces and deploy? Because this is a military agreement, it's not a civilian agreement. So when, for example, there is a natural disaster in Ghana today, and you don't have an agreement that can allow the U.S. to come and land and deploy soldiers, how are they going to do it? So staging soldiers and deploying them is not tantamount to military base. It's to enable them to take an action that will be beneficial to us as a country. And remember that whatever they are going to do should be within the confines of this agreement. And there's nothing in this agreement that says that America can fight a war using this agreement. No. Attack an enemy using this agreement. No. There's nothing like that.
Meanwhile, the Information Minister, Mustafa Hamid, is chastising the NDC minority in Parliament for leaking the agreement on security cooperation between Ghana and the United States of America. Mustafa Hamid accused the NDC MPs of undermining the credibility of the legislature by challenging the deal in the media instead of doing so on the floor of Parliament.
This is the second time that a document goes to the House of the Representatives of the People, and then NDC elements in that parliament rush these documents to the media, to social media, to public spaces, in order to either undercut, undermine, or destroy the credibility of the debate and discussions that will be going on in that parliament. How can you be a member of parliament and be leaking documents that are meant for discussion in that parliament to the press in order to, if you want, generate public discourse and, if you want, excite opprobrium for the government of the day? When you do that, you are undermining the very house from which you derive your legitimacy as a participant in our democratic process. Because what is your legitimacy? Your legitimacy is that you are an NDC member of parliament. So if there is no parliament, or the credibility of parliament is destroyed, your legitimacy as a human being in our democratic process is also gone. And therefore, I am just using this opportunity to call on the NDC to be decorous, to begin to respect the sanctity of parliament. That when government takes a document to parliament, because that document, from what the minister has been saying, has been in this ministry for more than 8 months. That's number one. And we have operators in this ministry. They didn't leak it to the press. After that, it went to cabinet and stayed around the cabinet secretariat for another maybe 4 months or whatever. And the day that we take it to parliament, in order for the representatives of the people to discuss it, NDC elements in the parliament then take the document, photocopy it, and throw it into the public space when even the debate in parliament has not started. I don't think that that is the way to run a democracy. When we were in opposition, we were very responsible to know that you don't undermine parliament in this way.
And the House will be rising tomorrow, but already there's stalemate in Parliament over whether the legislature can approve the agreement between the United States and the government of Ghana that will allow the U.S. military to establish facilities in Ghana. And Parliament's Committee on Defense and Interior, as well as Constitutional and Legal Affairs, have been meeting to consider the agreement, which Parliament is expected to approve. The minority is already raising concerns that the agreement, which has been brought to the House for approval, has not been signed as required in Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. And the committee spent the whole day Wednesday debating the alleged procedural error, according to the Member of Parliament Legal Affairs Committee, Roxanne Nelson Dapamakwo. If Parliament attempts to ratify the document in its current form, it will be a breach of the Constitution.
Now, carefully reviewing the documents that they have brought, the document is not executed. Now, the requirement is that before Parliament can consider and approve of any such agreement, it has to first of all be executed. That is signed by the President or the designated minister. Now, the government is not willing to listen, and it is very serious because, you see, matters of state has to be done in accordance with law. Article 75 is very clear. The circumstances under which agreements of this nature are to be brought to Parliament for approval and or ratification.
So they are coming for approval. If the document is signed already, then what's the point about approval from Parliament?
According to Article 75, when you sign a document of this nature, which is akin to a treaty, you bring it to Parliament for approval. So when Parliament considers the document and sees it fit to be in the greater interest of the generality of the people, it will approve of it. When Parliament sees that it is not in the interest of the generality of the people, Parliament can reject it, even though you have signed. Even though you have signed. So it is in the same nature that the agreement in question has first of all to be executed, to be signed. Now you see, when parties sign agreement in law, we call it, they have to be addendum, they have to be meeting of minds. They are saying that they have already met with American counterparts in this matter and drawn the kind of terms that are contained in the agreement. If in considering the agreement now, the memorandum, we make changes, will America abide by it?
I'm sure that's why they don't want to sign it ahead of the approval from...
No, so don't invite Parliament to be part of the negotiating team. What they are doing now, they are inviting Parliament to take part in drafting the agreement. But that is not our rule.
And we'll discuss some of these matters further when our guests come for AM Talk. But let's move on. The Inspector General of Police has reiterated the power of the media in the fight against crime. According to him, a strong collaboration between the Ghana Police Service and the media will see the police realize its vision of meeting world-class policing standards and also see a drastic reduction in crime in Ghana. He was speaking at the launch of the Ghana Police War television series here in Accra. Nancy Emefa Jiradosi has more.
Speaking at the event, the Inspector General of Police noted that the new Ghana Police Watch TV series will provide timely information on combating crime in Ghana, describing the media as an indispensable partner in the fight against crime.
The media has the supremacy to influence millions of individuals through countless formats. The police administration, under my leadership, believes we can leverage on the power of positive influence of the media to turn the tide in our effort to promote safe neighborhoods.
On his part, board chairman of the Graphic Communications Group, Professor Karkari, noted that the show will only bring about the desired results if collaboration with the public is strengthened, adding that the communication between the police and the public must be effective and make room for open accountability.
To enhance public confidence, there must be transparency in the communication that goes on between the police and the public. In other words, the communication between the police and the public must make room for open and transparent accountability of the police to the public.
On the spike in the number of armed robbery cases recorded in Accra in February this year, the IGP attributed it to a change in strategy by the armed robbers. He, however, noted some selected officers are currently undergoing high-risk motorbike-related crime prevention training to fight this menace.
The rise in the number of robberies in the early part of this year, after a very serene and peaceful Christmas celebrations, was partly due to a sharp change in the strategy of these criminals to using motorbikes, many of which were unregistered. For the first time in the history of the Ghana Police Service, we are going to have officers fully armed on robust motorbikes, ready to deal ruthlessly with any criminal who would try to use a motorbike as modus.
He further blamed the violent crimes in the country on the plethora of violent movies shown on television and called for a collective effort in youth development.
Today, children are bombarded with all kinds of violent movies over their developmental stage into adulthood. As we all acknowledge the power of influence that the media holds, I am sure no one is surprised when we begin to see all kinds of violent crimes on our streets and communities.
The TV series will be aired on JoyNews on Mondays at 6 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
Away from policing, the Dambai Health Center in the Kratchi East municipality of the Volta region is unable to deliver quality health care because it lacks basic medical equipment. Officials of the facility are compelled to improvise by adopting the boiling method to, for example, sterilize medical instruments, among others. Fred Kwame Sari has more in the following report.
The Kratchi East municipality has no hospital. Hence, residents rely on under-equipped clinics and health centers dotted across the municipality. The Dambai Health Center, which is the biggest health facility, is not spared the pressure. Though it operates a maternal health, family planning and mental health units, as well as provides laboratory services, it is understaffed and lacks the requisite logistics. The facility has 15 beds in a combined ward used for both accident victims and inpatients, while the maternal unit has only 3 beds, where on the average 3 babies are delivered daily. The medical laboratory lacks basic equipment, compelling technicians to improvise. Medical laboratory scientist Francis Duche laments they rely on boiling to sterilize, while they use hand dryer to dry samples for quick observation.
We don't have this machine. We have to boil it. And the boiling, to be honest, we don't do it regularly. So we ourselves, the workers here, are exposing ourselves to a lot of risks. And the clients as well. And that's a major challenge.
The only ambulance available at the facility had broken down for over 5 years. Patients in dire situations rely on commercial vehicles or motorbikes when referred to other facilities. There is neither a blood bank nor a theater to serve such purposes. The acting medical superintendent, Dr. Abigail Amenu, says patients' attendance has outgrown the size of the facility, calling for an expansion.
So a lot of the cases that we attend to, majority of them are maternity problems. We have emergencies where a patient is in dire need of blood transfusion to save a life. We do not have a blood bank. We have to transfer them all the way to Rara. I think we have these basic facilities available. Since I came here, I'll say the number of patients who come around have increased. And as a result of that, we don't have enough beds. We don't have enough infrastructure. We don't have enough health personnel to be able to cope with this growing number.
Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, who recently toured the facility, assured of immediate measures to mitigate the situation.
We need to get a theater for them. We need to work on the maternity where they have only 3 beds for prenatal, people in labor and people after delivery. Women after delivery, they only have 3 beds. And so those in labor and those who have delivered all are kept in the same room, which is not good enough.
Meanwhile, residents are optimistic the elevation of Kwachi East to a municipality would bring some rapid development. Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Dambai.
And we have a lot more news, so please get interactive. As you do all that, we're taking a break.